Hi guys, I'm going to try to do this hopefully before my phone runs out of juice. We want to talk a little bit about second inversion triads today. We've talked about first inversion triads, and just to recap briefly, first inversion triads are used a lot of times to lessen the weight of the texture of a chord, especially if we're not approaching a cadential point. They are also used to give more possibilities for a melodic bass. And oftentimes they occur in keyboard music, especially in bass arpeggiation, like this one. This is one. Oops. I took piano lessons, I really did. 1, 5, but 5, 6, 5 in first inversion, because Clementi, who wrote that piece, didn't want that to sound like it was the final cadence or particularly heavy. He's going to go on from there. Second inversion triads sort of work the same way, but there are some particular things about them. There's 3 basic types of second inversion triads. The first and the most common one is called a cadential 6/4 chord. Remember, 6/4 is our bass position symbol, or our figured bass, if you will, for a second inversion triad. 6 because it's a 6th to the top of the chord, and 4 because it's a 4th from the bottom to the middle. So the cadential 6/4 happens very frequently at cadences. Go figure, how about that? Oftentimes the cadential 6/4 is used to delay the arrival of 5. So that's what we have here on the board. We're in the key of E major, and these are our chords. 1, 2, 6, 1, 6, 4, 5, 1. Right here is the cadential 6/4 that delays the arrival of 5 by 1 beat. The purpose of that is so closely linked to 5 that we sometimes just bracket this and just say this is all part of the 5 function. In other words, there's a relationship between these 2 chords that have to do with reaching the cadence on 1. Without that, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 6, 5, 1, which would be fine in and of itself, but composers sort of have a marked preference for liking to delay 5. They do it with a lot of different types of chords, but the cadential 6/4 is certainly one of the most common. Another type of 6/4 chord that is very common, I'm going to use black here now, I think it might be a little bit easier to see, is called a passing 6/4. So let me just move ahead a bit in the textbook. If you wonder I'm talking fast, it's because I'm running out of a charge on my phone, and I want to get this done before it runs out. So the passing 6/4 might look like this. Let's say we're in A major. And here is 1. And here is 5, but in first inversion, back to 1. So what we wind up here is A major, 1, 5, 6, 4, 2, 1, 6. So the purpose of that 5, 6, 4 is just to help move from 1 to 1 and do so with smooth voice leading. So it sounds like this: 1, 5, 6, 4 to 1, 6, which sounds better than if we did all root position. Makes the bass more melodic, flows better, just sounds better altogether. Lastly, we have the pedal 6/4. And let me just make myself a little quick room here. All right. Here's an example of what that might look like. Let's say we're in F major. We're in 3/4 time. Don't you just love that squeaking felt pen? It's not quite as bad as fingers on the chalkboard, but it's not that good either. So I'm going to switch pens and see if that helps. It probably won't. But here we are with F, C, F. These are our bass notes that are going to represent 1, 5, 1. Now, in a pedal application, what happens is the bass sustains a note while the other parts move around it. This happens very commonly in organ music, which is where the name pedal comes from. You can put down a pedal, or I can use a tone suspending pedal on the piano. Okay, and then I can play chords around it. And that pedal sits there just kind of as an anchor. This is kind of the same thing. In this application, though, it's more of an embellishment where, let's say we have the F doubled in the alto. We're going to double that C in the tenor. And then here's our final chord. Okay, now I'm going to put an A here as quarter note for right now, and I'm going to put an E and a G in the alto and soprano as a quarter note. So this is what I would have just as a unembellished cadence. Actually, I need a C in the tenor. Now, if I do this, if I move the soprano up by a step, the tenor up by a step, and then bring them back down, I create a 6/4 chord on beat 2. So this would be 4, 6, 4, back to 1. The same thing could happen here if I move the alto up a step and the soprano and then bring them back down. Then I create a 5, 1, 6, 4, 5. That takes us to the final resolution on the root position 1. Instead of just 3 blind mice. So I know this is like the absolute Reader's Digest condensed version, but like I say, I got to get this in before my phone turns off, or my phone just does something weird, you know. But I am going to do my very best to try to get this going online on the various sites on campus and on the Zoom meetings. But for right now, this is the best your professor can manage. So let's go with that. I do also want to say it will help you greatly to read chapter 9 in the textbook. And to take a look at these learnmusictheory.net sheets that I always hand out to you. They're available for free. Just go learnmusictheory.net, click, and it'll give you all of this. You can navigate around. You can also take all of these and turn them into PDFs that you can print. So for example, here is soprano, alto, tenor, bass part writing, second inversion triads. Okay, well that's it for right now. So I will sign off and see you again soon. Thanks.